Ah, yes, welcome back inside Real Sports Bar and Grill. Unsportsmanlike content is on the air across all Maple Leafs platforms. We're glad you're with us tonight. Thanks for doing this. We've got a beautiful guest today. In fact, just wonderful to see the two of you here tonight. This is like the all-time good guy network right here, having the two of you. Of course, Brad May is back with us, and without further ado, Kris Versteeg. Steger, how are you?
It's great being here, especially next to this legend right here. Thanks for having me.
This is great. Of course, long-time NHL career. You're a bit of a suitcase, as we'll get into. Stops in
Big
just
suitcase.
Big suitcase. Two-time Stanley Cup winner, coach. You're an innovator. You run camps. You've got an app that's doing well. Lots to get into. But first, maybe just tell us what you're doing these days and how life is in retirement.
Yeah, it's been busy. As you know, when you kind of retire, you don't really know where you're going to go with it. And for myself, it was coaching my kids, helping the kids in the local area, the kids I want to develop. And then obviously I created an app that allows you to streamline coaching software. So quickly grab a clip, coach it, and share it. And then also coaching my kids in itself. So it's been busy. It's fun. Some of the greatest times and memories of my life being around kids. Hockey and the parents and the players and all that, so it's been a lot of fun.
The app is clever. Tell us a little bit about it for coaches out there.
Yeah, again, it's when I retired, I was like, how do I coach someone's clip on a phone or a tablet quickly and then share it back? And there was nothing really out there, so myself and a couple partners, we ended up creating this app that streamlines video coaching software so you can get it, hit the record button, draw on it, coach it, and share it really quickly, and all my hockey teams use it, and it's actually very effective, especially for the players today. And we got eight different sports on the platform, I believe, at the moment, so it works across all borders.
I'm getting that right, though. Clever is
clever.
Okay.
Yeah, not Cleaver or Kevlar. It's clever.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, so here's a question. So you were a player. We as players hated when we had to go into the coach's room and get overcoached and have them draw on the board and show video clips. How did you make that transition? And do you respect those coaches that did it for you?
Oh man, I respect everything now that I'm a coach. I respect everything that the coaches have done. But if you're kind of tying it into clever, I didn't want this to be some cumbersome platform where it's like 10, 15, 20 minutes. Because I remember being in video sessions, I'd be like, oh my gosh, is this over yet? I just want it to be like one coach clip. As you know, like when you're a player, you don't want so much information. You just want one thing that's readily accessible and easy. So for me now, like being in the app space and the coaching and then thinking back on my time with all these coaches and how they had to deal with me, I have a lot of respect for them.
What kind of a coach are you? Because as a young man, you were a wild one.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's coaches all throughout Alberta, across the National Hockey League, go, geez, now Versteeg's in charge of, the future of the game with these kids. What kind of a coach are you? Have you mellowed?
I'm not mellow. No, I guess I'm very energetic, very direct. I would love to actually have some of my players on here to tell you exactly how it is, but I think I'm someone who likes to motivate the players, think of different interactive ways to help them, think of stuff that they can do at home. But yeah, I am very passionate person, and that'll never leave me, whether I'm coaching 8-year-olds or one day coaching pros. It's just who I am, and I'm not going to change that.
Would you eventually like to one day get in the pro game?
I think it's a piece that I've thought about, I've talked about with my wife. As you know, you kind of sit down when you retire and you think about different things. I personally would love to coach because maybe, Brad, you could touch on this a little bit. When you retire, you miss the juice, you miss the fire, and I'm not saying when I was sitting on the couch when I retired, I'm like, what's going to give me that kind of fire again? But when I watch, like, not even just my own children, kids that are on my team score or anything, it's a big game, it's an overtime game, I'm fist pumping just as hard as they are. It is the one thing that you can get fired up with again, and that gives you that kind of drive. I don't know if you can.
Well, for me, it's imparting that experience that we had, or that knowledge, and trying to help. I say kids because I'm thinking there, but everyone's a kid to me now. I'm 54 years old. When you look at these players in the NHL, I see a lot of things, by the way, much more talented than we were with the game that we had and played. I mean, just everything about it. However, there's a thinking and a mental piece that I do see that there are gaps. And I think certain teams You know, they put more weight on those intangibles, and some don't. They lean heavier on the skill and the talent. At the end of the day, you got to get yourself there. You got to motivate these guys. I love that you brought up the word motivation, because that's what it's all about for me. The differentiator is of course talent to get there, but what motivates you. And you can't have a coach on your back, and the coach doesn't want to waste his time on one player either. The player has to have that internal motivation.
100%, but you touched on it. What the kids need today is their skill, like you said, is way better than ours. They can do things that we could never have done or dreamt of, especially at this age. It's the intangibles, and that's people like you or myself or other guys that have played the game is inserting now. There's an intangible piece to the game that they need to learn, and once that comes out, I'm so excited to see where the game is today, but where it'll be in 10, 15, 20 years from now.
You mentioned the word juice, and certainly we're talking about passion, and I think you embodied a lot of that. I remember talking to you when you were going over to Europe, and you were, I think it was Russia, and you were thinking about shutting it down, and I remember having a conversation with you, and you're like, should I keep playing? I said, make them cut the skates off you. You went back, you dipped the toe, you didn't want to let the game go. You loved it that much.
Yeah, it was, it's all I can remember. I mean, as you would know, Brad, same thing. I grew up early mornings. My dad, we had 6 a.m. practice. My dad would bring me at 5:30 because he knew the rink guy that was working there that would let us in early, that would get me on the ice. So it's something that I remember since I was a young age. And then when you're getting in the middle of your career, you're more so thinking about, hey, can I win cups? How am I going to support my family? And then when you get at the end, it's like, what am I going to do after? So you think back about that's all you knew and that's all you know. And I mean, at the end of the day, we're fighters with the gloves on, right? Yeah, there's a lot of great quotes about boxers when they leave the ring, they actually bleed when their career's over. And every hockey player, every person in sport does feel that way. And I definitely felt that way. And it's just really incredible, though, to get back in the game and feel a little bit of that again.
Hey, coaching and developing all these young kids, should there be a symposium to coach parents? and I only say that, by the way, when I ask you that question, it's not a gotcha, because I know that you deal with 110 teams here in Ontario, and everything that you're doing, you're making a real difference in the youth game. And it's not to put a spotlight on coaches, but I think that would be something that's another element that I think could actually work.
I think that's actually a brilliant take, is because I'm a parent now and I know how I feel about my child and things like that, and you get so wrapped up in the now and you don't look at what it could be or where it could go. I actually think that's a brilliant idea. I don't know who would be the one that
Another app,
yeah. That would, maybe, but I do think making parents...
Maybe the kid.
Brad May parent teaching app. But I do think that would be...
Ironic. You two guys leading the charge.
Hey, just before we get back to a real serious hockey question or wherever else, I have a ring on my finger. It's a tattoo, and I was actually sitting here before the show started, and I looked down on yours, and you have a ring on your wedding ring.
It's my wife's initial.
Is it? This is my wife's initial, but I lost 4 wedding rings. Did you?
So yeah, it was the same thing. I had this ring that it kept falling off, and she's like, "Why are you not having it on?" I'm like, "I'll just get it tattooed on," and that's how it is there.
Well done.
Yep.
What a pivot. I got a producer in my ear asking me to follow up. I'm not going near it. Let's get to the hockey side of it, the playing side of it. What was it like when you first walked into this market? You had been traded here. We're going to kind of work back from there. But the idea of walking into this market, this locker room, wearing the Maple Leaf, what was this like for you as a Western Canadian to know after all your stops, now you're in Toronto?
Yeah, it was a whirlwind. You know, you go from winning the Stanley Cup, and then the day the Cup actually came to Lethbridge, Alberta, that was the day I found out I was going to the Maple Leafs. So it was a whirlwind, but I just remember thinking about this is the mecca of hockey. I thought that Chicago actually prepared us for it, because Chicago, especially in the 2008, 9, 10 year, the media was high, the scrutiny was high, the pressure was high. So I felt like it prepared me to come to this market. And then when I got here and I saw the passionate fans, and you know, every night it's sold out, and you're walking on the streets. And
it's right up your alley as a hockey nut. This is what
100%.
Yeah.
And it's something I think back on. I was just a hockey player, but I loved being in a big market, playing in front of big stages, big moments, stuff like that. So coming to Toronto was great for me. Obviously, I was here a short time, and it didn't work out to stay a long time. But at the end of the day, I thought it was an incredible experience coming to wear the Maple Leaf. Not only that, now it's the alumni treat you absolutely incredible. So I'm thankful for that today.
And your Blazer's coming.
My Blazer's here, but like I said,
Mayday's got his. Yours is coming.
It definitely doesn't fit me, but it's getting work.
Now here's the difference. Your Blazer is too big, right?
It's too big. Yep.
I had.
You gotta let yours out, Mayday.
There was a time I had to let this Blazer
Or the
out.
dryer.
But you're not one of those guys. You're not going to gain weight. Look at you. You look amazing.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
how have
you.
you
make
not?
me feel
How
good
have you not
twice on this
exploded in
show.
retirement? Like you're leaner now than when you were playing.
I had to work like crazy to put weight on, man. And
Unbelievable.
yeah, it's just something my body's always been like. Had to work a ton to put it on. Right when I retired, I was like 180.
Sweet
Within
genetics.
6 months, boom, 160. Haven't moved since. Well, 165, I think.
Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
He was your roommate. Tell me about Phil.
Yeah, I tell all these stories about Phil all the time, and still my favorite one is just he was my roommate. We're in Pittsburgh at the time, and he used to take the clothes hangers and pinch the screens together because the sun would come in, right? So he would take them and pinch them. One morning, 7 a.m., it falls off, and he's like, "Oh my God, Kris, turn the lights off." And he's like, and the sun's peering in on his eyes. I'm like, "Phil, you're like 4 feet away from me." He's like, "No, you do it." You know, it was just like
incredible.
constant stuff like this. Like I have so many great memories. Even one, like I said, we were in New York one time. Comes on, or we're heading to the game. He goes, Steger, I feel like crap. And that's, I mean, a lot of people heard the story, but I'm like, it could have been the bowl of cheese you ate. Like, he ate a whole bowl of cheese for pregame, right? After the game, he comes off 1 goal, 2 assists, and he goes, "I guess I didn't feel that bad after all, Stegs?" You know, so, man, so many great memories with that guy, and what a teammate. I got actually a great squat story. Do we have time for the squat story?
Squat story?
Squats.
Yeah.
I walked in, I'm like, "Phil, look at you, man. I can squat way more than you. Like, there's no chance you could squat as much as me." He's like, "Let's get to the gym now." He goes in there, he chucks on like 4 pies a side, squats like 10. And I'm like, "I guess you can squat more." He goes, "See, told you, Steger, nothing." And I'm like, I actually was shocked at the amount of weight he could lift. And he was ice cold, no warm up, just popped right on there and did it.
Hey, and so here in Toronto, he got ripped by the media, and by the way, I'm not.
Who
it doesn't
doesn't
matter.
here? Yeah.
I really don't care anyways. This guy's a hockey player, like we were just talking about. He goes off to Pittsburgh and he wins a couple cups. Could have won the Conn Smythe. 8 hot dogs out of the Stanley Cup. People still rip him, but he was in the best shape and he was a strong guy. Maybe not. He didn't look like he was in the best shape, but in the gym, he was impressive. No.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you go on a squat rack and you think you can rip more than him, and he absolutely dummies you in the entirety of it. And not only that, we do bag skating drills or any drills of such. He would torch you, right? Like suicide drills or anything of those.
Deceptively fast.
He would be faster than you. He'd be at the front of the line, and he'd always be pushing himself. So I think that is a little piece of Phil that people don't know, is he was always trying to push his team ahead, and he would always play the "I'm not that great" card. But at the end of the day,
There you are together. How about that? We can get that frame for you if you like.
Oh yeah, look
Stinger.
at my shoulders.
Hey, the last thing
Those are huge.
those are big shoulder pads.
Those are big
eh?
shoulder
Who's
pads.
did you borrow?
Are those Nick Kiprios' shoulder pads with that number too?
Those are
Because
Kippers.
you've got the shoulders of a brook trout, and all
it
of a
is
sudden
a
there
brook
you're looking
trout.
like a Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, I was thinking more rainbow trout, but whatever.
Hey, the last thing on Phil, he also battled cancer, guys. Talk about intangibles of what that intestinal fortitude. Impressive, man. And I think he got a raw deal here in Toronto.
Oh, I was in Boston when that happened. So me and Phil were actually with the Bruins at that time. So I saw him go through that. He played with me in the minors during that little stint too. So that was another, tribulation that he had to go through. And man, that guy, what a person and what a player. And he went through a lot.
Who was, well, you mentioned something just a moment ago. You said the experience in Chicago really helped you face all the challenges and bright spotlights of Toronto. Take me back to winning back-to-back cups, what that did, what that difference was that makes a championship team, championship players. You were amongst legends and greats there. I wonder how that affected you, rubbed off on you, and made you better. Sounds obvious, but I know you can kind of take us inside.
And you could probably touch on this too, Maisie, that it's just like when you're around these guys day in and day out, you see their habits, you see how hard they work, you see it all, and then you see it all kind of come together when it matters the most. These guys not only showed you how to get there, it's when you got there, they put you over the top. So think of all the OT goals that Kane scored, or assists he had, or big moments he had, or Taze and Keith. I think what I saw was just guys that had the pressure of the world on their shoulders, teach the guys beneath them, like myself, how to get there with them, and then when the time comes, how to execute and do it under the most clutchest of circumstances.
Yeah, I was actually in the building in Chicago, 2015. I was working for Fox Sports 1. They had just launched this new program out of LA, all hockey. I did the Stanley Cup final, Steger. I was on the ice when you had won the Stanley Cup for the second time, and you were my favorite to get there. My son was with me, who actually works for the NHL right now, but Tyler was with me. You met him, and Patty Kane. Do you remember that night?
I remember. Yeah, I remember it vividly. Like, especially when you're on the ice, it's a very surreal moment, as you know better than anything. But I remember that entire time on the ice and meeting everyone and then getting in the locker room. And that was actually the last time the Blackhawks had that locker room, because they told us to torch it because they were going to rebuild another one. So the ceiling tiles were falling out, and that's a whole other thing. But yeah, that was an incredible evening.
We want to thank you for tuning in. If you're inside the Scotiabank Arena tonight, enjoy the game. They'll get you set inside the rink for this one. We'll continue our conversation here. And growing up, who was your guy? Who was your ultimate, the player you wanted to play like? Or maybe you had an opportunity to meet a player when you were a kid who kind of spoke to you. Who was it, and what kind of impact was it?
Yeah, so my dad was a big Wayne Gretzky guy, always had me watch him on TV. When I started to be able to think of a player that I liked myself, there was Steve Yzerman. But then my dad also said, find a player you kind of play like, watch him, and then put those in, intangible pieces into your game. So Peter Forsberg was the guy that I always tried to model my game off. Obviously, I never became a quarter of the player of Peter Forsberg, but that's the player I felt I played like as a kid. Little, not the biggest guy, liked to get into some contact, liked to protect the puck, and a playmaker first. So he was the guy I really tried to model my game off of, or after, when I was a child.
Peter Forsberg. I'll tell you one quick one about Peter Forsberg. I had him lined up, ready to run him over in Colorado. What I didn't understand or know at the time is he knew I was coming, and he gave me the old reverse shoulder. I landed on my head. I went like 180 degrees upside down. I skated to the bench, and Mark Crawford, my coach, gave me shit. He went right after me. He was like, "You're supposed to be tougher. You just got dummied by." And I'm like, he's one of the best players in the game, dude. He was amazing to play against.
He was the cold shoulder master, right? Like, he used the reverse hit, everything. I played against him near the end of his career. Obviously, his ankle was hurt and all those things that he went through.
Right.
But that was like in the NHL, this is the guy I studied as a kid. And then you play against him, it was
he was almost the perfect player when you talk about checking boxes, right?
Yeah.
He was that guy. The one thing I don't want to skim over is after the Stanley Cup championships, you became famous not only for your play, but for your rapping. You were a big rapper. You like to string together the beats.
Back in the day, I used to be able to do it. Sometimes, when I'm at a wedding or certain moments, I can really bring the heat. Now I've gone to more
Can you
ballads.
give us something?
Well, Purple Rain, Purple Rain is kind of my go-to now by Prince.
Can we do it right now?
I don't know if it'll be good. I never meant to cause you any sorrow, though. I never meant to cause you any pain. I always wanted one time to see you laughing. I only see you laughing where?
The Purple Rain.
In the Purple Rain.
Like it.
That's all I
Well
got.
done.
You did it at weddings.
Yeah.
You did it at the Stanley Cup championship celebration.
Yeah.
The parade.
The parade, yeah. It was kind of something in the room we always had fun with. I remember back in the day, Kaner and Taser, Adam Bursch, all those guys would have me sing in the room to kind of get the boys going and stuff like that. And we'd go out to a little pub after, and there'd be Mike night, and me and Kaner, we'd all sing a little bit of karaoke and just have fun together. Really great moments. And that's when it got to when we won, Sharpie's like, you got to sing in front of the crowd. And I'm like, all right, let's go. So I did it.
What about the red-headed piano bar?
Redhead.
Still good,
what a
by the
spot,
way.
eh?
So I hear.
The dueling piano there
Yep.
is incredible, and they used to rip up those pianos. Some of the best singers that you've never seen in your life sing on those pianos at that place.
I may have dipped a toe in there the last time we were there in Chicago.
Is it still there?
It's still going.
Yeah.
Your picture's still on the wall.
Okay.
Hey, you know who I was there with?
Scared to ask.
So I'm playing for the Phoenix Coyotes. Jeremy Roenick,
Heard of him?
Chris Chelios,
Oh,
Oh yeah.
the mayor of that town.
and Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Back in the day, right there. Yep.
Yeah, that place was like a lot of people just loved going there because, like I said, the people playing the pianos were lights out, unreal. Everyone would go there, yeah.
Hey, you two have a little something in common, if I'm not mistaken, and that is a certain television show.
Ooh.
Battle of the Blades.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but cutting edges, baby.
Do you want to tell us about your experience as you took it to that level? And I think your performance may have been better. I can't remember how it all shook down.
You know what? I can tell you this, and to be honest, I don't know who's better, and I'm not here to say that.
I was not better.
I can tell you this. It was to me, it was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had as an athlete. It was so friggin' hard to actually learn how to skate with elegance, straight up with figure skates, and
Tight pants.
You know what?
Slacks.
And they were tight right around 2012, 2 years after retirement too.
What was that like for you?
No, it was awesome.
Man,
Well, he was 152 pounds.
Yeah, that was about 151. Yeah, it was a humbling experience, you know.
Was it?
And like when they're on like mohawk inside out edge, and then you got to lift a human up over your head and not drop them on their head. You know, for me, it was like at the start, are you sure we're allowed to do this? Like to pick someone up and not drop them? Like how is this even going to work? It ended up being an incredible experience. Carlotta, the girl that I skated with, she helped us a ton. She did an incredible job. And then our coaches, I forgot his last name, but Mike was his first name. Great guy. They put so much time and effort into it. And the experience for myself was something that, you know, you think back on great experiences. That was a great one. It just sucked that it was during COVID and there's no fans. So
Yeah.
you got to experience
Right.
the people.
Right.
Our building was empty.
right.
So it was a little bit different of an experience. But hearing the people who skated when there was fans, they said
it was incredible. Honestly, just doing something for 7-8 hours a day, learning. The coolest part after retiring from hockey and practicing, and I didn't like going to practice, but the one thing I do recognize, the moment that I wasn't able to go to be a hockey player in practice, I missed like getting better daily or having like that benchmark. Learning how to figure skate every 10 minutes and learning a program, choreograph, everything that goes along with it. Every 10 minutes, it was a struggle, but you got better. And that pursuit of excellence for me was intoxicating. It really
Did
was.
you have
things
Purple
on
Rain
that,
as
though.
your song?
No, Purple Rain wasn't my song. I would have. They
Could have been a
'cause you
difference
couldn't
maker.
use that song because of artist rights. So they had artist rights for a lot of songs. But like you said, one day you'd be like, "There's no chance I'm ever going to be able to do this," and then the next day you could kind of do it. Remember how kind of strange that turn would be, where you're like, "Now I kind of understand it," but how scary was the first skate when they did the countdown?
Oh, dude.
I almost blacked out when they're like starting to skate 10 and they do the countdown from 10 and then it's about to air and you're like, I just forgot everything. Like you literally almost black out. Like
Hey, for TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and everywhere this is going to go, my first skate with Annabelle Langlois was my partner. Incredible. We skated to Saturday night for fighting Nickelback. That's the song,
yeah.
right? Oh my God! It was fast paced. It was like hardcore. I had to throw her over my head, kind of almost like a flip. I was petrified, terrified that I was going to hurt her.
Yeah.
Terrified that I was going to hit a toe pick. Minute and a half or 2 minutes, because remember the first one was about a minute and a half, and then we got in a good enough shape to get to past 2 minutes and 25 seconds. It was terrifying in front of 2 million people. The most watched TV, the biggest audience in Canada was Battle of the Blades, Chris, and we had that experience.
especially, I believe your viewership was higher, but I just still can't get past that. When it was the countdown, it's going live on TV. and they're counted down, I just remember, I don't remember anything I was taught over this past week.
Steger, I'm going to get you to sign this hat as we do with all of our guests. It will be auctioned off for charity. And while you're signing it,
don't ask me if it's my
to
hat.
speak as well. Trade deadline's coming. I just wonder if you had any moments. The pressure inside a locker room with a trade deadline looming. Take us inside. What's it like right now? In every locker room across the NHL.
I think it's different. Like you alluded to at the start of the show, I was a suitcase. Yeah. So obviously every trade deadline, you're going into it thinking that there's a possibility that you might change, you might go to a new team. Especially right now with the Leafs, I'm assuming there's a lot of guys that are on pins and needles trying to figure out, A, where they're going to go. If they go there, are they going to be utilized in the fashion that they think they'll be utilized in? You know, there's a lot that goes into your player's mind. It's easy to get traded. The grass isn't always greener, and when you get there, are you going to be utilized the same way you are as you are in your current team? So I just remember thinking like those thoughts back in the day, especially the older I got and the more I got traded.
Okay, but if I can ask you, what was your favorite moment of being a Toronto Maple Leaf?
Favorite moment of being a Toronto Maple Leaf? Honestly, probably my first game. Home opener.
Yeah.
You know, you're playing against Montreal, and you're kind of feeling that energy of being what a Leaf is, and the fans are going nuts and all that. I remember the exhibitions were cool because they had such a great, you know, when I came here, it was so good, and the people are so welcoming, but that first game against Montreal.
Nerves?
Nerves, yeah, nerves.
And because you are somewhat of a student of the game, you understood the moment.
Yeah, I understood it. Like, you're coming to the mecca of hockey, you're playing against Montreal on a Saturday night, and it was at home, right? And there's expectations now to perform because of, you know, coming from Chicago and stuff like that. There was a lot of nerves. Took me about 10 games to get going in Toronto, and then I really started to get going. But yeah, that first, I'd say 2-3 weeks, it was a lot of figuring out for me, right? You're on a new team, new players, stuff like that. And I didn't get a lot of off-season training because of injuries. And
you played late.
And you play late. So I kind of came in a little raw of not getting on the ice a lot. So there's that too.
You had a lot of memories, a lot of moments that I'm sure you'll never forget. Now that it's over and you've had a chance to reflect, I've got just over a minute left. What is maybe the greatest story? I'm sure winning is right there, but I'm talking about maybe a story of like teammates, friendships, road trips, laughter, something that you take with you. If there's a story you're telling around the campfire with your buddies or family members, what's the one you always go back to?
Yeah, we're going to be here for a long time.
Yeah, you got to come back and tell more.
Yeah. We'll come back and tell more for sure. I actually think back onto a lot of the fathers' trips, you know, being around the guys, getting the dads around, meeting the dads. The dads are out there having a absolute blast. My mother's trip, my mom could barely walk out of the rink at Golden Knights game, right? They put the camera on her and she's up there dancing, and I'm sitting there like, holy, like they're having.
Is that when you're in Calgary?
I was in Calgary.
I remember this one.
So those are kind of like memorable moments with my family, and I'm so happy that the team still do those parent trips and you get to bring those. Obviously nothing beats the locker room with the boys, that's number one, but thinking about stories, like my dad almost blew up our plane, right? Walked off the back of the plane with a cigarette, got tackled, right? These are things that happen. He's a farmer.
At the back
he's
of
a
the
farmer.
plane.
He thought he was riding his horse, but he was actually on the back of a 747.
You gotta have your dad on. He's got stories too.
He's got stories, but like, he still gets talked about by all the Chicago.
Oh yeah.
Like all the players. Like I go to the Hawks reunion. How's Roy doing? You know, so it's pretty funny.
Steger, we can't thank you enough for coming by. Enjoy the game tonight. We really appreciate it. Another one of your old teams, the Flyers, in town.
A few of them.
You can catch it on Prime tonight. He is Kris Versteeg. He is Brad May. And, of course, you can catch the game also on the Fan 590. Thanks for tuning in. Boys, that was fun. Thanks again.
Take care, boys.
Enjoy the game, everyone.